Thanks for joining us here in our lovely Zoom environment. We love having you guys and having people from all across the country come join us. We are grateful to have Intuit with us tonight. They're one of our partners, and we love sharing information about their materials and curriculum with our teacher contacts. And we're grateful for all of you who share that information with your friends as well. And we're grateful for the University of Arizona that sponsors Tiffany and I to help provide things through Take Charge today. Tiffany and I are the staff team right now. One and three quarters of us is what we call us. We do have three teacher trainers, one in Utah, one in Arizona, and one back on the East Coast that we send to conferences. Those are some of our national ones. So if you recognize our faces, we're glad that you've come back to share time with us again. We are going to do just a couple of quick polls tonight, if we can. Oh, Tiffany, I can't see my my buttons now. Do you want to send out the polls? Thanks. For some reason, they got hidden under my view of people. So first time teaching taxes, just want to see who we have in the audience tonight. All right. So we actually are closer. Majority is yes instead of no. Well, actually, we're split about 50-50. So that's awesome.
I'm Timur. I'm with Intuit for Education. Can you all just share in the Zoom chat if you've heard of Intuit for Education, if you've used anything from Intuit for Education or tax simulations? Just share in the Zoom chat. You can say thumbs up, yes, all that's good stuff. Okay, I'm gonna try to see some responses. If there's no one, that's good for me because then I can show you for the first time. Okay, Beth says heard of it. Mr. Jones, yes. Have heard of it, but not use it. Heard of it. Cool. Use Educate e-file for students. Okay. No, it's not available, but we've updated to something different. Not familiar, not yet. Okay, a good mix. Appreciate it. So, and oh, Joey's here. Hi, Joey. So we see some good responses there. So today, what I'm going to show you is our tax curriculum. We're going to walk through how to get access to Intuit Education in the tax curriculum, how to use the lesson plans and our simulations and pair it with calculators as well. Everything that I'm sharing with you all here is for free. You're not going to have to pay for it. Your school won't have to pay for it. Your district won't have to pay for it. Your neighbor won't have to pay for it. No one has to pay for this. So just want to make it very clear that it's for free. And let's get started. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, cool. So here is my screen. This is the Intuit for Education homepage. So I'm going to drop the link for Intuit for Education here. This is the homepage. And you'll see here, this is where we get started. This is curriculum, programs, and read. This is the website for Intuit for Education. I think what's most important for you all is just the curriculum here. That's where I would direct you all to. You can also look at programs, which I'll show you at our finance challenge at the end of the call. But really, the most important thing is intuit.com/education and preview curriculum. So we're going to go here. We're going to go as educator. Independent learner just means that if you have a friend or a neighbor or a family member or an adult, someone who's not a student of yours who wants to use this, they just log in through this route. That's all. Okay. So we're going to go in as educator. And this has about 150 hours of curriculum. There is, this is also its own learning management system. So you can actually add students to a class. And there's helpful videos to show that, but you can add students to a class. Here it's asking me to create an account, but I'm just showing you the preview version right now. What I want to show is these are where the courses, simulations, calculators, and games are. And then it also shows you the simulations down here, units, calculators, and games. Again, I have not logged in yet. I'm just looking through without having to log in first. We'll go to the personal finance unit. There are two personal finance units here. One is self-paced and one is, this is referred to as guided personal finance Oh, reshare my screen. You can't see it? So someone gave a comment to reshare my screen. Okay, let me do that. Just make sure everyone can see. Cool. I'm gonna reshare my screen now. So self-paced is a student doing this on their own time. Like you can assign this as homework. You can, this is where like the teacher isn't directly involved in the students going through it on their own. This is guided. So this is where I think a lot of you all would want to check out is this is what you'd be able to bring to the classroom and do it with the students. So this is with students. This is students doing it on their own, but they're the same curriculum. I know it might be confusing at first. They're the same curriculum. It's just the way it's laid out is different. So let's go to the guided and it'll show you the different units here. So we've made the units very comprehensive. They do line up to national standards. If you want to know what state standards they line up to, you can also click here and look at the state standards list there. So just again, if you want to look at state standards, that's all right there. We're going to focus on taxes. And these are the taxes unit. So it's pretty comprehensive. Basics of taxes, income taxes, sales taxes, and so on. And then the TurboTax simulation right here as well. Let's do filing taxes. Why not? It'll tell you the learning objectives at the top. So you will know right away what this unit is for, and then the national standards. So we have the national standards lined up in every single unit. And then again, the state standards could be right there. You'll see right now they're all locked, so I can't open them. I can only open them when I make an account. So I'm going to go ahead and log in, actually, let me make a test account so you all see it. So here asks you if you're a teacher, student, or independent learner. Teacher. And then I'm going to make an account here. Let's do Tamor likes take charge today at gmail.com. I'm going to say loves take charge today, not likes, loves take charge today. Test. Okay. And then I make my password. One time I actually said my password out loud because I was talking out loud. That was embarrassing. Okay, here we go. And then it'll ask me for my name. So Tamor, Ashkan, Mr. Tay. And then it'll ask you how many students you're planning to use this for. And then I'll say 0 to 30. And then setting up your dashboard. Cool. Now I'm logged in. Now I can look at, that's how easy it is, right? You don't need to give like your address. You don't need to give what's it called? Like you don't need to pay for anything. You can use your school email, your personal email. It doesn't really matter. You can give like I wouldn't recommend this. You can give a fake email because you can see there's no password confirmation. But if you get logged out, that's where the password confirmation would be helpful. So we try to make this as easy as possible to get access to this. I'm going to open up the lesson plan. And I'm not checking the questions here. Okay, cool. So here's a lesson plan. Here are some slides. Here's a worksheet. Let's open this all up. And then a handout. So we have, look at all this. You'll notice it's a Google Doc. So you can put this into your LMS really easily. If you use Google Classroom or Canva, you can add it. You'll have these educator resources here. Yeah. And then it'll have a 60-minute lesson plan. So a bell ringer, and it'll say like slide. So you're like, oh, where is the slide? Right here. This is where the slides are. So the slides are all designed for you, ready for you. It'll have the bell ringer, the lesson objectives, a video, understanding W-4 forms, and so on. Yeah. And here there will be like links from the IRS, so that obviously that they have great resources as well. I know that Take Charge Today also has amazing resources. So what you can do, by the way, if you want to edit this lesson plan, all you have to do is make a copy, and then that copy is yours. You can edit it as you want. You can add your own resources, for example, like from Take Charge Today, and you can mix and match this lesson plan and edit it to work for you. Okay. So we've really made it very detailed. You have questions here. And I also want to make sure you all see that there is an answer key. So there's an answer key to both these worksheets. So if I open up the worksheets here, this is you can print out this W4. There's these questions at the bottom. The only thing is what I'll say with the answer key is that you need to verify that you're a teacher. So it'll ask you to verify so that students don't have easy access to the answer key. I know we've gotten that feedback before from teachers as something very important to them. So here is a W4, here's a W2. You all have seen this, so it's not new to you. But what I like about it is it's really well integrated into a lesson plan. And we've designed a lesson plan, if I go back here, to be really, really detailed. So that even a substitute teacher or a teacher who's never taught taxes can run it without a problem. Like they obviously you could do a walkthrough review the lesson plan, but we've made it so that step-by-step instructions are already there for you. If you're a more seasoned teacher, this is where like copy and edit will be beneficial because you're like, hey, I already covered this in my other lesson plan. Let me just pull some things out of here and put it into my lesson plan, which you're again very welcome to do. Cool. And then what I want to show you all is the simulation. So you'll see here, the simulation is not linked in this specific unit. I'll go back. It's not linked here either. It's linked in some of the units directly. So there's like an extension activity here. Let's open that up. Yeah, so you'll see an extension activity and a worksheet are not too different. This is an extension activity is meant for adding like if you have extra time with your students or your students want to have extra credit, this would be a great worksheet for them to do. Okay, so I just wanted to share you a couple of examples of that, but let's go to the tax simulation. Oh, it asked me for feedback. I am gonna be giving 5 stars. Amazing. Okay, cool. So can you imagine if I give 1 stars? Don't share that recording. So this is the tax simulation unit. So here it'll give you, let me X some of these out. So we have some space. I'm gonna open up the tax unit, the tax simulation unit, the slides for it, and the simulation. Look at that. It opens up like this, start the simulation. And some of you might be using EverFi's TurboTax simulation. I'll say that we partner with EverFi on that. It's a great resource as well. Feel free to use it. They have great scenarios. This one is more hands-on. It's more like closer feel to the actual tax filing experience than the tax simulation from EverFi. Both could be used at your discretion in the way you want. I would say that what I've seen teachers do is they would do this one first and for like extra activity on like tax scenarios like gig workers, going to college, they will bring in EverFi's tax simulation that we work with on them. So actually what I would love to do, and I obviously can't see everyone's screen. Um, so here's a simulation. Please open it. And what you'll see is you're going to be able to open it without having to make an account and without having to ask your students to make an account. So what I love about our simulations and our calculators is that if you have any issue making a class and adding your students to the class and assigning lessons, you can actually just like take the lesson plans and take the simulation and share it with them, and they can do it without having to log in. So, and the logging in process is very easy for a student. If you do want to do that, they just need a join code. But if for whatever reason you don't have school permission to make a class account, you can just pull the resources out and use it on your own. So let's do this. So TurboTax is a tool that allows individuals to file tax. Let's get started with Antonio. Antonio is the first name. So let's do that. Antonio. Check. See, it's cool. It checks it right away. Davis. So we did a little design update for this recently. 12/21/2004. I'm gonna give an example of like what it looks like when I enter it wrong. 9222111. See, it won't do it. So I'm gonna do 116 and it works. Continue. You'll see here, this is like the TurboTax experience, but you can't click anything. Like a student can't start making a TurboTax account. They can't do that. So it's all X'd out here. See, I can't do anything in the product. Just so you all are we're clear on that. Supporting yourself means paying for more than half of your living expenses. So here is a scenario. Select the appropriate screen. Here we go. Continue. Nice job. Here you'll see, okay, let's review your form. So it's asking here. W-2. And you can copy it. So students can be like, okay, employer name. Oh, what happened? Um, oops. Very quick. Mm, And you can actually download this too. That's a new update. Let me refresh. Yeah. So sometimes there's a bug. So there was a little bug there where I couldn't actually open it. So I'm gonna redo that. You'll see that yes, if you do, if you're not logged in, which I'm not, that's the only downside, is that when you have to refresh or there's an issue, you're gonna, oh, see like that. You're gonna have to start from the beginning. That's the only downside of this if you refresh. If you're not logged in, sorry. Okay. Continue. No, I didn't pay. Continue. W4. So I'm gonna Dairy Queen International. And yeah, you can see here, you can actually download it and share it with the students. You can have a printable version if you want. Dairy Queen, Dairy Queen International. Okay, yeah, it's having the same issue. So I'm gonna file this as a bug, but essentially what the rest of the simulation goes through is just it's gonna finish going through the W2, and then a student when they do submit it, it's gonna have a like congrats, you've submitted it. You finished the tax simulation. And if you're not logged in, if a student is not logged in, it won't automatically record it for you that they've done it. So they're gonna have to make a screenshot. Again, that's a downside of you not making not having the students make to join with the code once you make an account and once you open a class. So that's the only downside. But we've seen screenshots have also worked well with some other teachers. So this is the tax simulation. Sorry, I couldn't go through all of it. There is a bug it seems, but and I'm gonna just make sure I screenshot that to share with our team. But you can do the tax simulation here within the unit itself. You can also, if you go out here, it's also here as well. So you don't need to do it within a unit. You can also just take the simulation and use it on your own lesson plan. Any questions on that?
I have a couple questions,
Yeah,
Tamar.
sure.
I know when you guys first started doing this years ago, that there were like three different scenarios students could choose from, right? So as a teacher, I could do one that was maybe easier, medium, harder with students, just depending on the kids that I had in my classroom. Would you recommend, now that there's just this one, would you recommend that they go through this one for practice? And then the teacher could just differentiate and give the students an actual 1040 form
Mhm.
and have them just try to fill that out with different information. You know, a student who's got tips that needs to be included or student who's
Yeah.
investing already. What's your recommendation for that?
Yeah, I like that idea. I haven't heard a teacher do it that way, but I mean the whole point of this is to be very customizable. So I would, if a teacher is especially very experienced and wants to plug and play and use other like print out other forms, they're more than welcome to. This is like an introduction. I know we're gonna actually add more to this, so there will be an opportunity to have a 1040 simulation process as well. But for now, we just have the W2. Yeah, cool. I'm gonna show you all calculators really quickly. So I really like these calculators. They're very widely. This is one of the. If I were to pick three things that teachers use the most here, so experienced teachers use our simulations and calculators the most. New teachers who are more new to financial literacy do use our lesson plans a lot, and they do customize it to what fits for their students. But the simulations and calculators are the two more widely used tools within Intuit Education. So here are our calculators. While it's not necessarily a tax focused calculator, let's go to budget. And you'll see here there are like activities at the bottom where a student can test out, like plug these numbers into the calculator. It's quite detailed, and they can see the answers on their own as well. So this is a fun little thing to share with students. If you're doing a budget unit, again, this is also something you can copy, put it into your lesson plan. You don't need them to make an account to use this. So I'm gonna just show you what it looks like. So if I make a gross annual income of $55,000, I'm just make up 10% tax rate. No, let's do 28% tax rate. And then savings and investment. If we do the rule, let's just do 200 debt repayments. This is again a great opportunity to talk about student loans. So 150, actually let's do 350, 100, let's do 200 here. This could be, what's a realistic auto loan? I just got an auto loan. Okay.
Depends on how
Rent.
old the car is.
Yeah, exactly. Rent, mortgage. Let's say they live in lovely. I know the rent in DC is expensive. Let's say it's 1,700. Utilities monthly 150. Property tax, let's say 20. Say 150. Home insurance. Again, I'm just plugging numbers. This isn't exactly accurate. 100. I don't know. Let's say 30. Let's say this is 60. Transportation. Gas monthly, let's say they spend 100 on gas, 50 on insurance. Okay, there. They don't use public transportation, car maintenance. Let's skip that. Actually, no, we can't skip that. Yeah, I was like, wait, no, your car is gonna break down. You can't skip this. Let's do it's annually 500. No, it's gonna be like 1,000 probably if it's annually. Mails out monthly. Let's say 100. Event tickets. This person isn't going out very much. Travel. This person is not traveling. And then cable. Let's do 40. And then apparel, clothes monthly. Let's say 30, 40. 40 and calculate. Yeah. So their monthly, so it plugs it all that, and that's what the answer is. Your estimated monthly income after expenses is $629. Total monthly expense 3,000, annual expense of 44,000 in income. Again, I just plugged some of these numbers in, but if I wanted to change this to 30, it will, yeah, it will automatically calculate for me. Now it says 87%. $87 is my monthly income just by changing the tax rate like that. And this is really cool to be able to share with students that like, oh, what is your tax rate and how does it actually affect your monthly income? What is the annual, like what you can do is what is the average income in our neighborhood, in our city or our district? Plug that in, plug the tax rate, and they're like always very shocked, like, what? That's it? That's how much I get pay home. So and it really spurs an interesting conversation with you and your students on okay, maybe I put too much money for shoes and clothes. I got to cut some of that. They start playing with the numbers. So what I recommend as a what I've seen teachers do really well is let your students play around with this. Yeah, give them some of the activities to plug in first, but then let them just play around with the numbers, and you will see that they're going to start discussing and talking about, wow, that's what my take home is. I need to make this much money to be, and it starts getting them thinking about like what is the realistic income they're looking for to have the lifestyle that they want. Cool. Okay, any questions on the calculators?
I think that would be great if they actually did, like you say, had their own spending habits and maybe they
Yeah.
want to upgrade to a newer car or they want to upgrade their cell phone plan,
Yeah,
that you could have them plug those different numbers in and do some
absolutely.
comparisons and see. I know you didn't go over the budget, but will it let them spend more than they make so they have a negative number on there?
I actually do think so. So we can
I
let
don't
me
want
just
you to have to put it all in again.
no, no, we won't do that. So let me do 30, let's do 40% and just see if it lets me. I just want to see if it gives a negative. I think it does give a negative. Let's yeah, see negative 833, calculate. Well, it should I think it does. I think I've done it before, but you'll see here it gives a negative with the tax rate, but I think it should
Okay.
give a negative. Um, yeah, cool. I think I saw did someone ask something. Getting the is there a practice for that? Getting the effective tax rate. Sorry, what do you mean? And clarify the question.
I mean, getting your effective tax rate from actually, your gross income minus or
Yeah,
your what you actually pay in taxes isn't just throwing in a number there. Like, and
yeah.
you could put in state, and if you live in like New York City, the city taxes as well. So that's what I'm wondering about.
Sure, sure. Right now we don't have it built into the calculator, although I know our product team is working on it so that you can even put in your city and state. We do have for What we're working on for here is a sales calculator for QuickBooks, where you can, right now it's only asking for San Diego, but we are making it open to any, so each student can easily find the tax rate in their city. Yeah. But it's a good request for our product team to work on. Cool. So you'll see here admin approval. So this is again, if you want to use the self-paced lessons and invite your students to do homework and things like that within Intuit Education and save their progress, track their progress, be able to grade automatically, you need admin approval. So if I click here, let me put my zip code. I think it's Madeira is in there. Okay. It's so funny. Paul Mitchell School is a hair design school, so I don't know why that's on here. But anyway, I guess they also need financial literacy. So protecting student data is important to us. So you'll see that we do comply with FERPA and state education privacy laws. And that's it. So the request will be sent to you, and then you will forward it to your principal or to your like department head, and they just have to sign the agreement. And the agreement is just basically saying that Intuit Education, yes, is complying with state laws. I know with some districts, we're working to get the district approval like at the top. So I don't think we have a list of the districts that have signed all those agreements yet, but if, for example, right now you will see that it's sent the request, but if I'm in a district where it's approved, then I won't even see that bar at the top. So you'll know if you are in a district where it's approved already, at least at the district level. But you as a teacher can get it approved from your department head or your principal if you submit the request and then we send the form to you to share with them. Cool. Okay. I'm gonna share with you about Intuit Hour Finance Challenge. Can anyone let me know in the comments if you have not heard of this? Just like comment, nope, haven't heard of Intuit Hour Finance Challenge. Please let me know. Boom, boom, boom. Nope. Okay. Good. Thank you, David. No, you haven't heard? Okay. Yeah, got a lot of no's. Great. That means I'm sharing this for the first time with you all. I love it. So, Intuit Our Finance Challenge is our nationwide challenge for the month of April, Financial Literacy Month, where you only need 1 hour to do a activity about budgeting with your students. It involves playing a game that we've built. It's a Web 3D game. If you know Roblox, it's like Roblox. It's a budgeting game. So it's about strategy, it's about accumulating wealth through different levels, but also financial wellness. So it's not just about making money, but it's also about balancing it with interests that the character has in the game. The game is right now, I can't display it because it's not ready, but it'll be ready by April 1st for all teachers to begin using it with their students. What I will say about the Hour Finance Challenge is that you only need 1 hour in the month and you choose the hour you do it in. So there's not a specific date or a time to do this. It's up to your discretion during the month of April. Last year was our first year doing this. We got 60,000 students signed up to do it. It was a great success. We had school winners. So when a student plays the game or your class plays the game, every individual student gets the login to play the game. Their score is then laddered up to your school score. So every school has its own score, and it's the cumulative score of all the students at that school. So as a teacher, when you register, which let's go through the process here. Oh, why? Oh, I know why it's blocked. It's blocked right now on my computer. But let me drop this in the Zoom chat. So actually anyone who wants to can just do the registration process now. It takes like 5 minutes. When you register for the challenge, it'll ask you to put, your name, but also your school. It'll tell you if any other teachers in your school have registered because multiple teachers could register. It doesn't have to be just one teacher. And it'll give you a code for your school. That code will then be used to invite your students to the challenge once it starts. And your students will have 1 hour to go through the curriculum and play the game with you all guiding the process, of course. Here you'll see prize eligibility. Let's go to prize. Everyone loves prizes. So we have national winners. So top 3 middle school and high school winners will receive Chromebooks for their schools. So it's great. all the students will receive Chromebooks. So top three middle and high school winners, that's the school, not just because again, this is not like a student by student competition, not a class competition. It's actually important that you're sharing this with other teachers and having a lot of students participate because your whole school is involved in this, that's what's really cool and unique about this program. Then you have state level championship. So every state winner will receive a trophy and a recognition for being a state winner. And then, yeah, and then what it says here is like only registered middle school and high schools can win. So if you're part of an after school, if you're an after school program, you can't as after school program participate. It has to be as and when I mean after school program, I mean like your local YMCA, for example. They can participate in this, but they won't be eligible for prizes. Only registered middle schools and high schools will be eligible for prizes. And here it'll give you something competitive nationwide, fun interactive lessons, gamified real world scenarios. You're playing the Intuit Prosperity Quest game. What I will give you as a insider information, if you want to prepare and get ready for the game, we do have Prosperity Quest here from last year. Okay, it's in the Intuit for Education platform. You can just go and play the game. You can also get the link directly. I'm going to drop it here if anyone wants to save it. And can you do the challenge of community if you're not teaching at a school? You can do it in the community setting for sure. You just won't be prize eligible, but you can participate just like any other school and be part of the leadership board. It just won't let you be a prize eligible. That's the only downside. But it's still cool to see your scores and see how your students do versus vis-a-vis other students around the country. Because there will be a leaderboard. That's a great thing. There's a leaderboard. You can see where your school is in the leaderboard, where it's ranked, and it's updated live the whole month of April. So you can check any day in the month and be like, oh, we're school's number 106. We gotta bring it up. We gotta strategize and get more students to play this. Students can only play it once though, and we have students have a unique code, so they won't be able to game the system and try to keep playing to get a better score. They're gonna have to teach their peers to play the game well, and then they're gonna have to do a good score. So again, you're teaching each other about budgeting. So I dropped the link of the game from last year. It's going to be just a new world within this game. So, what I would recommend if you're a competitive type, for sure, your students are competitive, is to practice using last year's game. And that could help you prepare for this year's game, which will be released on April 1st when the challenge is released. Okay, and this is a video of last year's winners. You can watch that. And we also have a video highlight of a Twitch streamer. Twitch is like a live streamers who play the game and give live like feedback about it from an influencer. So if your students are into that, please feel free to share it too. And this is the dates. It tells you can register anytime between February 3rd and April 29th. So technically, like if the challenge starts April 1st, you can still register on April 5th because you just register and play the game. It's all within like 1 hour. You don't have to register and get like email confirmation. No, it's like none of that. You just register and you can start playing immediately with your students. Okay. And the challenges run through the whole month. And then the winners are announced on May 5th. And then here are some frequently asked questions. So will student data be captured? We're not collecting PII data. And then the avatar, which is the game character that a student plays with, is randomized. So we don't even know their names when they're playing this. So again, students don't have to make an account. You just register, but you don't have to make like a game account. They just get the code and then they start playing. Like Kahoots, if you know Kahoots. Who can win a prize? It tells you there. What technology resources do you need? Mac OS or Windows are ideal. You shouldn't be playing this on your phone. That's not. So I think one of the things to prepare for when you have this game is make sure you have your Chromebooks, laptops, desktops, whatever is needed for that day to play it on because it is hard on the smartphone. It's not impossible. It's just difficult. Okay. And then, yeah, it tells you if you register, can another teacher register? Absolutely. Multiple teachers can register. That's the kind of encouraged. And then how to prepare, it tells you, yeah, you can play last year's game. But not everyone looks at the FAQs. So I'm telling you now, it's a good idea to play that. Cool. And then it explores curriculum. So yeah, it's going to be Intuit for Education curriculum. I will tell you that like, it is about budgeting the game. So if you are going through a budgeting unit that week, that's a perfect time to play the game because it's about budgeting. It's attached to Intuit for Education curriculum, but you could use Take Charge Today curriculum. You could use your own curriculum for budgeting. It's not a it won't prevent you from playing the game if you don't use the Internet education curriculum. Okay, so I want to make sure that's clear because maybe some teachers might be like, oh, we've done this, we've gone through this is redundant, or I have something else. I'll just caution you that you want to make sure that you are providing your maybe as a teacher, you can play the game first before you share with your students to make sure it's aligned, especially if you're using your own curriculum or using another curriculum to make sure that your curriculum is aligned to what the game's objectives are. That's all. So that's my also a tip for you all. If you plan to not use the integrated education curriculum, which is not a requirement, it's just recommended, do play the game first and make sure it's aligned to the curriculum you do have. The game takes about 25 minutes in total to play. So the hour is for the curriculum and the lesson plan to be done during the hour. So it's like budgeting, lesson plan, and then game, and then reflections. It tells you here like basically the schedule. So just try to plan for that hour. Um, you're not supposed to be able to pause the game and play it another day. Like, for example, you got to do it all within 1 hour. So if you only have 30 minutes, my recommendation is to then do the 30 minutes of a lesson plan the first day. Because once you start the game, there's a time limit students have to go through. They can't spend 2 hours playing the game. That's like another important tip for you all. Make sure that you have at least, I would say, 20 to 30 minutes, more like 30 for the game itself. If you don't have 30 minutes in your day, your class to do it, then do it another day where you have the at least 30 minutes to play the game. Cool. So I think with that, any questions? I got some.
A couple questions in the chat for
Yeah.
you.
Can you
The
put
first
it back?
one, yeah,
Yeah.
was the link you put in there one that the teachers can take and use with the students tomorrow?
Yeah, so the link I put in, you can play now, you can play tomorrow, you can play with your students tomorrow, the classroom game. It just will not be the same game used for the challenge in April. So I just want to make sure I'm really clear about that. It'll be similar, but it won't be the same. But it's a great way to practice. So you can use a classroom game tomorrow. And then Kimberly, do students have to play as a team or individually? That's actually up to the students. So we've seen classes where students play on their own, like they're playing quietly or making some comments. And some students play in a group together, but every student has their own avatar, their own characters. So it's not that they're playing against each other. They can play with each other and help each other out. Like, oh, don't forget this payment, or don't forget to click this, like I don't know, grow this tree, or for example, like they can give each other tips and help. That's encouraged. They're not competing with each other. The schools are competing with each other, so that's the only thing. The schools compete with each other, but the students are not competing against each other. They're trying to help each other do well in the game. But they will have their own laptops, their own code. I mean, they will have their own character, and they will play, like each person will play through the game on their own. Um, but they can help each other out. That's totally okay.
On
I hope
that
that was,
link, the
yeah,
link you just gave us, can you it asks to either play as a classroom or stand
sure,
alone. And when you
sure.
do start classroom game, like I don't can we as a
The
teacher come up
code.
with a classroom? Yeah.
Yeah, so this is okay. This is a good point. Thanks for asking. In order to start a classroom game, you need to go to teacher dashboard here first. So I know I asked for the feedback. I've asked for this to be updated. Create a new game. If you have a new class, create a fresh game dashboard. So create a new game. I'm gonna say Mr. Josh, period 3. Okay, set up the session. And then here is your teacher dashboard. Then you share this with the students. So let's go here, prosperity quest. Is loading. Start classroom game. I'll enter the classroom code, and then it'll ask for this. So there's two codes here. There's a classroom code, and then there's a code here for if you want to save and go back. This is for classroom mode. For our finance challenge, you're not going to save and go back, but for classroom mode, you can do it for this game version. And then I plug that here. Oh wait, oops, no, oops, sorry about that. Let's go back, copy. Okay, and then PT, and let's try this again. No, okay. Ooh, yeah, I'm trying to be slick with it, but it won't let me. So let's have to do it. PTT, PT2, T2 MBR. Okay. No. PT2MBR. That should work. Am I missing a name? MBR. Is this 15? Okay. That didn't work. Let's try again. Okay, we'll try this one more time. PT2MBR. Okay, invalid code. So I will check that, but essentially what you're going to have to do is make a teacher dashboard. And then in the teacher dashboard, you'll have the ability to then go into classroom mode. So this is the first time that happened to me. I'm sorry about that. And I'll tell you how long it's been. And it'll also tell you how many people are playing and the statistics of your game. So like how well they're doing in the game. So it's pretty cool data insights for you as a teacher to see on the back end. You won't be able to see specific student names. Again, it's random characters, but you'll be able to at least see generally how your class is going. And you could do like a little mini competition, like between periods, like, okay, period 3 did this percent success rate, period 4 did this success. So if you wanted to do a little mini challenge before the hour finance challenge, you can certainly do that. I'm gonna check why that code wasn't working, but if you do your own teacher dashboard and make your own session name, it'll have a new code for you to be able to use. Cool. Any other questions?
And like Tiffany said earlier, we're recording this tonight, so we'll edit out things and you'll be able to go back and watch Tamor. I know he does things pretty quickly sometimes, so
Yes, I do.
you'll be able to go back and
There's a
kind
lot to
of
show you all in 45 minutes or so. So I try to go through things fast, but I want to make sure, like, if you all have any questions, you can email me. I'm gonna drop my email here. Please save it. Please feel free to just email me like, hey, I don't understand the classroom code or it's not working. I will connect you with our support team and make sure that you get all your questions answered. So you're not left alone. And I do know I move fast. So I'll be at your speed if you reach out to me.
Thanks, Tamor.
Sure.
All right, so let me just share for those of you that are new to paying taxes or to teaching taxes, I just wanted to show you a couple of the lessons that we have and what is in here. We do have a basics of taxes lesson, which really is just to expose students to the taxes that we pay that are around us. When they hear the word taxes, I think they tend to think about income taxes all the time because that's what they hear the adults talking about or whining about all the time. But that basics ones, we'll talk about several taxes, and then we do have a paying your income taxes lesson. And we have some new activities that I'm just going to show you briefly tonight. So if you've used one of our lessons before, this is something new you could do. So in this basics of taxes lesson, we talk about excise taxes, which they have when they put gas in their car. We talk about income taxes and payroll taxes when they have a job, property taxes if they buy a car, or their family buys a boat or something like that, and then sales taxes that they are going to pay all the time. So really our whole premise to this lesson is all of us are help contributing to the welfare and the well-being of our communities and the United States. And that because we all take this seriously and all contribute, we're all going to be better off because we get things that we need. We get jobs and we get Medicare and we get libraries and just some of those other things. In this lesson, these are some of the activities that we have included. So instead of doing instruction and teaching the kids about the different types of taxes, we have a QR code scavenger hunt. So they're going to have some definitions of different taxes. They're going to scan the QR code and find the name of a tax and see if they can match some things up. So let me just show you from our lesson plan what that would look like. So the QR codes are available and ready for you to print. Just put around your classroom or in the hallway, and then the students can work alone or with a partner to try to match those up. So just kind of a fun way to introduce them to taxes. We also have foldables in there. Foldables are one of my favorite activities that I did with my students because it's a way to help our artsy kids and our kids who needs things organized to be able to do something a little bit creative. So in our foldables active learning tool, we have different versions of foldables, different pictures that you can look at, and you can just choose which ones you want the students to, which of these questions you want the students to be able to answer. So that is in that lesson. I don't know how many of you played the New York Times games, but I do. And Connections is one of those games. And it's a way for you just to give students 4 groups of words that are related, but they are mixed up and they need to figure out what the connection is. So you can find the link to this puzzle that we have created already, have the students work on it individually or with others, and see if they can figure out what the connections are between those 16 different words that are in there. And then you can use this, the puzzle builder to build your own as well. So if you like to do things like this to challenge your students, you'll be able to see where we've created our puzzle and then make some of your own. Interviewing a peer about taxes is also part of this lesson, and I really enjoy students being able to talk to their peers and finding out what they understand. So you can have the students write their own questions that they want to ask their peers, and then they go around and gather the data, and then they can come back and see what they learned about their peers. The image that I have on here is questions that we have created that's in there. So if you just want to make it simple for yourself, you can print this out. The students can go do their research and come back and talk about it. I just wondered, of those 5 questions that we have showing, which question do you think the teens would get incorrectly most often? If you want to just type in the chat, you can give us a 1, 2, 3, or 4 or 5. I feel like these are pretty simple questions that, our teenagers should understand, but I know that a lot of them don't. If they don't have a class like what you're teaching, they may not do that. Yeah. So that's one of the activities that's in there. This is one of our new activities that we just introduced. I really feel strongly about helping students use their math skills and tie that to personal finance decision making. I tell students that math and money are cousins and they're always hanging out together. And so this is just a way for them to take $1,000 or $10,000 a year that a student with a part-time job could earn, depending on what your minimum wage is in your state. But they're going to estimate how much of that $10,000 do they spend or pay for their income taxes, for sales taxes on things that we buy, for excise taxes if they're putting gas in their car. And so you give them a grid like this, that's part of the lesson activity, and they're going to do some math calculations, and then they're going to color in and color code the legend so that you can get a sense of how much money do they think that they actually pay. I know the teenagers in my classroom always felt like they pay so much in income taxes, but when you can have them color this out and take a guess, they may see that they're really paying less than they thought. And this was just my example that you'll see in the lesson plan. You can have them color consecutively. I tried to do it for you as a visual to share with the students so that they could just do one line at a time for different types of taxes. But if you had them color consecutively, they'd be able to see how much is still white. How much of those $100 have they not spent for taxes? And you can have them, if they have their own jobs, use their own income as well. So that's one of our new activities. This is another one where they're going to try and understand the information that's on a W-2. So we give you the image, it's in a jigsaw puzzle website. You can actually choose how many pieces you want the puzzle to be broken into. So if you have younger students, maybe you only want them to have 12 pieces to drag and drop together. I think it goes up to like 1,100 pieces, which means kids would spend like a whole week trying to figure out how to put them all together. But you can do that with any image. So for this activity, they're going to drag the pieces together to make a puzzle. There's a little legend. You see there's some black circles on there with numbers in them. So they're going to be identifying what's the employer information, what's the employee information, and then there'll be some questions for them to answer. That just gives them kind of a fun way to look at a W-2 and figure out what kind of information is included in that. We do have our paying your income taxes lesson. This is recorded and on our website. So if you want to look at the lesson that we have created. It really helps you walk students through the whole process of looking at, well, first understanding why we pay taxes, but then looking at your W-2, how do we take that information and put it into a 1040 tax form? When do I create a new W-4 for myself? It really is very comprehensive about income taxes and how that all fits together. When I was teaching students in the classroom, I would spend at least a week just on this whole lesson and getting students familiar with the tax forms and the different types of credits and deductions that they might see in their lives. So that is available in our website, but you can also watch the webinar from last year that we did on this. We do walk students through filling out tax forms. So we have it built into a PowerPoint where you can do it together as a class and see how do we fill things in and where do things go. And then the students have some scenarios of fictitious couples or individuals that you can have students work on together as they go through that process as well. I feel like it just gives them so much confidence in understanding what's happening with their pay when they have a job, and they can kind of understand this process and why do we pay taxes in the first place and things like that. So check that out if you have not taken time to look at that lesson. All right, we want to pause for a minute before we do a short evaluation and then do our drawing for our gift cards tonight, courtesy of Intuit. If you want to unmute and just share with us, how could you make taxes more meaningful to students, or what modifications might you have to make for your students? You can unmute and talk to us, or go ahead and type in the chat as well. Yes, Joey, we love that, right? Helping the students. And I would like bring lots of kids in from around the school that hadn't taken my class, like come to my class and let me help you understand that. Oh, love that, Josh, right? Connect it to all those government services that are provided. And that taxes lesson, the basics of taxes, does do that. You get a chance to explore your city, look at the city center, look at the court system, look at the police department, look at the libraries, look at all those things in there so the students can understand that. And they get to talk about streetlights and paving streets, roads, and parks and swimming pools and things like that. Oh, Jamie, love that. Yeah, let's just teach wherever we can to help people understand those taxes. All right, here is our short survey for you to do for us today. If you would do that. That's awesome. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight for a fast and furious 1 hour of taxes that you can do with your students to help them improve their own understanding of the world around them. We appreciate you guys joining us. Thank you. We hope to see you again.
Thank you.